Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Renneker. I'm from the University of Mississippi Medical Center, and I'm going to be presenting on the virtual immersive sensorimotor test for neurological impairment. The VIST Neuro-ID has been funded, the development has been funded primarily through the Health Resources and Services Administration. So this is my disclaimer slide. And now I'm going to show you a short video. Basically, I will just say that the VIST includes an off-the-shelf commercially available VR headset, virtual reality headset, and our proprietary software.
Concussions are one of the most concerning injuries associated with contact sports. Medical professionals use clinical tests to detect deficiencies of sensory motor control in patients with concussions. But these tests are insensitive to subtle injuries and cannot measure change over time. Surprisingly, there is still no reliable way to diagnose these concussions, but we're working to change that. VIST Neuro-ID uses virtual reality to measure neurological proficiencies and detect impairment. VIST examines smooth pursuit and saccades, measuring a person's eye movement control and visual attention. VIST assesses the patient's ability to switch attention between central and peripheral vision while measuring reaction time and accuracy. In real time, the VIST Examiner dashboard displays a person's eye movements, graphs performance metrics, and tracks their symptoms. Using the headset sensor data, we are building a machine learning algorithm based on features that distinguish impaired from healthy performance. VIST Neuro-ID will demonstrate improvements in neurological proficiencies pre to post-training so that athletes and patients can get back to what they do best. With these comprehensive attributes, patients will experience better concussion care with VIST Neuro-ID.
All right, so what is the value? Concussion largely is regarded as an invisible injury, meaning it is not able to be seen on standard imaging in a clinical context. So our value statement is that we are making an invisible injury visible. We need to have a data-based, inexpensive assessment for concussion on site after an impact has occurred. And the secondary part of that is I will say we need to have something that does not require a baseline, meaning a pre-injury assessment of an individual player. The market is pretty large. It was 2.9 billion in 2020 with an expected 8.3% growth between 2021 and 2028. And at this time, we really see our customer as collegiate and professional sports teams, and also the military and service members in these environments where blasts are expected. So looking at a competitive analysis of products, across the top, you will see the operational attributes, where we see the Neuro-ID hitting all of these, and current devices, which you may or may not be familiar with. For the sake of time, I don't have time to go through them, but the ones we have done in a competitive analysis with are the Impact, the Sway, which is a phone-based app, iSync, which is also a VR solution, Right Eye, which is an iPad-based solution, and iBox, which is a completely hardware and software design device, not off the shelf. So the VIST offers neurocognitive testing, a balance assessment, a vestibular examination, an oculomotor and perceptual examination. These are features of a clinical examination that are not seen comprehensively in any other device on the market. We are also the first device that is looking at using machine learning on the back end to simultaneously take in that sensor-based data from each of the individual tests to identify features that distinguish normal from abnormal performance. We're looking at something that is portable to be used at the point of care, even in operational environments where there is no Wi-Fi, and that can be telehealth compatible. This would be very important in far forward military environments and in rural models for health care. We also want there to be no baseline. This is the real strength of artificial intelligence, is being able to detect those features and have a machine learning classifier in the absence of a baseline. And then results-driven management. So at this time, every one of these other devices and everything else currently on the market just tells you whether or not you probably have a concussion. But what they don't tell you is what is wrong, what has been impaired with your neurologic function, leading therefore into treatment. So it's a real need. We're the only one who's looking at giving you an idea of where are the impairments so that treatment can be initiated. From an IP perspective, we submitted a non-provisional patent earlier this year along with a PCT. We have started with FDA pre-submission work with some intent to file in 2023. We believe, based on our initial work, that this will maybe considered a class 2 breakthrough designation device under traumatic brain injury eye movement assessment aid and would likely be de novo. For a timeline, we're calling in phases, phase 1 and 2. We're working right now to establish the prototype device and software for the Neuro-ID. We're working to deliver the first generation machine learning classifier for concussion, transition that ML classifier, and then have our first pre-submission to FDA. With phase 2, we're looking to complete all the product engineering, developing and implementing design interventions of the user interface for enhanced usability, interpretability, and hazard mitigation, testing new implementations for improved human factors and user experience, and then having a final submission to FDA after that phase. Currently, our needs are that I need more access to participants who have an acute concussion. If you're building a machine learning classifier, you generally need the broadly defined as healthy population and then the population with the thing you're trying to identify. And having access to participants with acute concussion has proved to be a challenge. Continue needing assistance with the regulatory approach, and I would add also just general assistance with the business strategy for this. This is my contact information. As I stated, I'm at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. There's my LinkedIn as well. And I can take questions.
So quick question. Have you talked to DOD yet?
So I've had several conversations specifically with the Air Force, not DOD entirely. I've also had the opportunity to present to the VA, the Veterans Administration. The VA has a very specific virtual reality implementation program. I haven't talked to VA DOD broadly.
Okay, I have a contact for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, NIH is really interested in remote clinical monitoring tools. And I'm wondering if this has that potential application of getting patients that typically have difficulty getting to participating in clinical trials and doing the remote monitoring with, a tool like this. And if so, in the SBIR space, there was a contract solicitation that we let out last year. Some of the other institutes are working in this space. So I'm just putting a bug in your ear that this might be an area where you might be able to find some specific funding at the NIH.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I think Allison's helping you coordinate that kind of stuff, right? Yes, perfect. Okay, good exercise. By the name of Deborah Shear, and she was at the DOD. If she's still there, we had a good relationship back then, and she was working very deeply in traumatic brain injury. And I can dig up a contact and see, at least pass that to you.
Thank you very much.
You talked to the NFL?
So
NFLPA, I'm sorry.
I don't have a contact in the NFL. I am currently collecting data. My data collection partnerships are at Mississippi State, the University of Mississippi, Mississippi College, and Louisiana State University. I'm currently talking to West Virginia University to get in their Rockefeller Neuroscience Institute for data collection on a more comprehensive, but right now I'm in the athletic departments of those universities.
I'd love to put you in contact with somebody from the NFLPA.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Just a business question on your service obtainable market. Any reason you didn't include high schools in this? Is like the thinking like the price point's going to be too high for high schools? I'm just curious.
So the way that we've the kind of thought that I had initially was kind of the trickle down. If you can get it into the colleges and in the NFL, it kind of trickles down into high school. Right now, from an IRB perspective, I have not been able to, I have chosen not to try to do a pediatric population. In Mississippi, I would have to have, in most places, I cannot even approach a child under the age of 18. I'd have to have parental permission, a child assent. And in a school model, that becomes very difficult because the injury happens. Mom and dad may not be there. How in the heck do I get in touch with them? I can't talk to their kid. So we've chosen to go very narrow demographic right now is 18 to 40 is what we're enrolling.
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry. Just real quick. So could you work with pediatricians to have the pediatricians self-select patients that come in with head injuries and say, look, we've got this program your kid may be interested in. Here's the parent consent, and then they contact you.
If I had a clinic that consistently saw patients with concussion, that could be a possibility. And where I'm at, I don't have one. But yes, that would be a way to do it.
I'll just chime in and say usually it's school specific. So if student athletes in high school are playing the sport, they've signed consents and they can do that theoretically with their technology ahead of time, sign off on the permission to utilize it on the spot. So it would be a school thing and not necessarily an individual. I mean, it is an individual family thing, but it goes to the school ahead of time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.